Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Garibaldi Reds, a Nottingham Forest podcast brought to you by Nottinghamshire Live. We are proudly sponsored by VPN, and here today to discuss NordVPN, to discuss Forest's 3-0 defeat to West Ham. A absolutely abysmal afternoon at the City Ground yesterday. We shall discuss that, and of course, deadline day. Which is today, and a few players that have been linked with Forest. We thought it would be a quiet one, but it never is at the City Ground. So Forest expected to make 2, if not 3 possible signings. We shall get on to those and discuss throughout as well. We are live on Facebook, Nottingham Forest News, and YouTube, Garibaldi Red. So do be sure to get your comments in on this Monday afternoon. If you're at work, if you're on your lunch break, whatever you're up to, do let us know, and let us know how you feel after a pretty poor afternoon for Forest at the City Ground. We will discuss Nuno being under pressure. Like I say, we'll discuss the deadline day stuff and everything else surrounding the City Ground this week. Joined by Sam from the Tricky Tea T-shirt business. I always get that right, mate. I always nail it. Never. It's a bit of a tongue twister, isn't it? Sam, look, good to see you, mate. Thanks for joining us. What did you make to yesterday? You were there at the City Ground. A pretty abysmal afternoon, right?
Yeah, reality check, I think is the word that I'd use. I said to you before we started going live, I think it was one of those days where I was almost expecting it with the I think the optimism and the kind of bit naivety before, thinking that I think everyone had as favourites to go and beat West Ham after their start. So it almost felt a bit inevitable. The atmosphere was a bit flat in the ground, and I think that normally is the case when we kind of have that feeling that we're going to win a game of football. So it wasn't a good day at the office, and we need to really bounce back. And I think it's just terrible timing with all the news with Nuno around surrounding him, and yeah, it's not the best timing, but we'll talk about it. But hopefully we can recover from it.
Yeah, for sure. Nuno expected to hold talks with Marinakis this week. They'll probably get deadline day out the way first today, I imagine, and go about business as usual, and then discuss his position really in more depth. I don't know if Forest fans have seen the interview he did with BBC Sport yesterday. So not Colin Frey, but almost like the match of the day, if you like. The commentator from there interviewing him. And just when asked on his future at Forest, for me, I'm not a body language expert. There might be people that watch the podcast that are, but his body language says to me that he doesn't feel that confident that he could be Forest manager come after the international break. And some of the answers in the interviews were very strange. So I'd recommend all Forest fans to go and check them out and obviously make your own mind up. But we shall see what happens. I just think it's a bizarre situation. And it's pretty crazy to say that Forest have got their biggest season in a while going into Europe. And all this seems to be looming over us. Where do you think went wrong yesterday, Sam? Watching the game back this morning, actually, thought I'd watch it back and try and almost get new day thoughts on it, if you like. And, I thought the first 5 or 10 minutes, Forest came out the blocks quite quick, quite fast in transition. They were kind of pressuring West Ham, being on the front foot, which we're expecting now, given that the club's, identity might have changed where we are in terms of a European campaign and last season's finish. So playing more attacking football and having more of the ball. And the first 10 minutes felt that way. And then it was a little bit of a sloppy end, I thought, towards the first half. But then second half, I thought West Ham were much the better side, even before they scored. It wasn't really against the run of play. A great finish. And then you give away a penalty. Sangare always seems to have a mistake in him. And then it was just a complete collapse from there, wasn't it?
Yeah, Sells was the busier of the keeper, busier of the two keepers throughout the game. So you can't really argue with the result. The better team won on the day. They did an absolute job on us in terms of, it's almost like what we've been used to seeing from Forest, and in terms of sitting back and waiting to pounce at the right times and being clinical when you go forward. So fair play to West Ham. They did exactly what they needed to do after a really poor start to the season for them. So I'm sure their fans will be delighted with that. It's what went wrong. I don't know. It was almost chalk and cheese really from the Brentford game. You think about how positive and how much freedom they played with. They almost looked like they'd heaped that pressure back on themselves from the end of last season. It was a bit of a strange one. And reflecting on the game on the way back, I think realistically the major thing that went wrong is the fact that Morgan Gibbs-White had a really bad game, and I think it shows how important he is when he's on fire like he was against Brentford, and everything just goes through him. It works when he's on when he's on form, but when he's not, he couldn't string passes together. He was struggling to get into the game and make a difference, and it was really tough day for him. And I think that really affected the team because once we kind of got into those positions, we lacked urgency and kind of that creative input, and we just didn't even look like scoring. I think we could have played on for another half an hour, 45 minutes on top of the 90. I don't think we'd have scored, which is a bit of a strange thing to say about Forest over the recent times, considering we'd look such an attacking threat, and we've got so many good attacking players now, even on the bench. And it's just it was a bizarre one. It really was. So yeah, I think the main thing was Morgan kind of not being at it. But I think when you've got players that are worth 40 million coming off, like starting and coming off the bench, they've got to stand up now, and it's not just about one man anymore. It's about a whole team and a whole squad that needs to grab the game like that by the scruff of its neck and go for it. And no one did it, so that's why we lost.
Yeah, no, totally agree, mate. Pretty fair assessment. I also think in-game management was poor from Nuno yesterday. I've got to say. Few comments live to us: YouTube, Garibody Red, Facebook, Nottingham Forest News. Matthew says Gibbs White had a shocker. We could all see it. Surely the manager has to take him off. James says bad day at our office. We move on. We have so much quality. Everybody should be fighting for their places. This one from Alex on YouTube reminds me of the Everton performance before Cooper got sacked. Nuno making it seem like he no longer wants to be here. If we are going to change leadership, do it sooner rather than later. We'll discuss that in a min. Ian says, need to integrate the new signings as soon as possible. No good bringing them into a game so late, or even not at all. Earlier changes at half-time would have been a massive difference. Yeah, spot on, Ian. Completely agree. I mean, let's just talk about actually that comment there from Alex and also Nuno as a whole, Sam. And again, this is just me with a bit of a fan brain on and completely speculating here. But when I listened to his interviews before, when I listened to his interviews after, the whole fallout from last week, and then after the Crystal Palace game, and I think that situation before, talking about his relationship with Marinakis, massively impacted the players. You could definitely tell. It then seems to have almost carried a bit like a bad smell this week, and it's not gone away. It's still lingering. Nobody knows what's going to happen now. It's a really unfortunate situation for the club, and I think the fan base that are in, it's really unfair on the players and the fan base that are almost stuck between this argument, if you like. But I don't know about you. I just thought his interviews were odd yesterday, pre and post game, and I do agree with Alex's comment there. I think the performance just seemed very. I don't understand why you've got Douglas Luiz on the bench and Sangare's had in my opinion, a shocking game. I've seen some comments that say he was a great, he played well. He played okay, but Sangare's always got a mistake in him. And he makes that mistake. He gives away a penalty. Morgan Gibbs-White's had a poor game. Bring them both off. You've got Douglas Luiz sat on the bench that's worth a huge amount of money. He's almost a star player. Why not bring him on? And again, speculating, it just makes me think of other reasons why Nuno's not brought him on, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely love the bloke. I think what he's done for Forest is fantastic, and no one can deny what he's done. But
Yeah.
ever since he first did that interview saying about um, how far off we are as a team, and where he wants to be in pre-season, everything from there has just been strange and bizarre. I don't understand the logic about coming public with any sort of behind the scenes arguments, or not arguments, but like poor relationships. It just seems like something that should never have seen the light and the public kind of arena. I just don't get it. I really don't. You don't. It's a bad look, and it just hypes pressure on the players when everyone knows that now that there's a bit of tension between the ownership and the manager, and everyone knows that they've got to go out and perform. Otherwise, that's pressure's going to be even ramped up even more. And now, I mean, it's a terrible timing if you're Nuno and you do want to stay in your job, because you put all this pressure on yourself and then you just drop one of the worst performances. And like you say, some of the subs were bizarre. He wasn't reactive enough to things that were happening, and he didn't. Well, like I say, Gibbs White had one of the worst games. I think we all saw it. He was having a bad game. No one in that team now should be kind of invincible in terms of staying on the pitch the whole time. Bring McAtee on at after 60 minutes, put him in the 10, bring Hutchinson on earlier on in the game to make a difference. And these players are on the bench and they know they've got to work their way into a team, so they're hungry to play. These are the perfect players to come on and change the game. And it was bizarre. And like you say, it's almost like you say when looking at the body language, it's kind of like he's almost resigned to the fact that he's going to be leaving, which is such a strange scenario as a man that's just signed a 3-year contract after one of the best seasons we've ever had, or in recent times anyway, in my lifetime. And yeah, I just don't get it. It was all looking so rosy, and then it's almost like self sabotage, isn't it? Which is just the most classic Forest thing in the world. So um, always in the news, and there's always something surrounding Forest at the moment. So
Mm,
I would just love to them to come out with some sort of statement, get round a table and put whatever differences they've got aside, get together and get a plan together for what should be the most important season in recent years for Forest. None of this nonsense about, oh, I don't like him and he's not signing these right players. Let's get together, get a management structure in place. They're all there. The structure and the tools are there. Just get together. None of this nonsense around calling people out in the media. Get together, get a plan, get together and give the fans what they deserve for this season.
no, absolutely, I agree. Do you know what, Sam? As well, I was saying this last night. I almost feel a little bit sorry for Marinakis, and I say that in the kind of in a way of all this attention's been on Forest in the past few years. Now, to me, I'm reading and educating myself about the Edu and Nuno situation. This really, yes, Marinakis has bought Edu in, but if you gave the opportunity to most Premier League football clubs or most clubs across England to bring a top head of football operations in, if you like, or whatever role he's kind of taken up in terms of Edu's caliber, then clubs would take that opportunity. They'd bite your hand off. But it feels like this is obviously a rift between Nuno and him. And I do really feel sorry for Marinakis, who, he did his interview with TNT Sports after Forest Europa League draw was announced. And, you could tell he was hiding some stuff. But again, he was quite positive about Nuno. He didn't do what Nuno did to him in a way just a week before. I mean, I think he's acted absolutely fine during all of this. I just think it's a really odd situation. It needs to be resolved as soon as possible. You're completely right. They've got to get together. I think they're going to take the time. It's international break, so I think it's going to be in the next week. We'll find out something more. But it's not great when it's deadline day today, and it is Nuno involved at all in any transfer deals? Who
Well,
knows?
this is what I'm kind of confused about in terms of the fact that his main gripe was that the squad wasn't where he wanted it to be. Whether that was obviously, I know he wants to sign players earlier on in the window, but from Marinakis' point of view, he's got to wait till that whole European thing is kind of sorted. And you saw that kind of triggered a lot of those deals with McAtee and Hutchinson and the like. So um, he kind of gave Nuno what he wanted. And I mean, obviously we don't get access to behind the scenes, but whether they were players that Nuno wanted or not, I don't know. I would, based on yesterday and how reluctant he was to kind of throw certain players on, it would suggest to me that maybe they weren't maybe his first choice, and he's being kind of lumped with some players that maybe he didn't want. But I don't know. Who knows? It's all speculation, isn't it, really? But we've got a fantastic squad now, thanks to the investment that's been made this summer, with actual strength in depth. So we've got options to come off the bench now. So I just hope that from now on we can get some sort of unity with the management and get some sort of plan together that when we are struggling for performances in games like we did on well, yesterday, and we can throw these fantastic players off the bench and they can go and change the game and win us games.
Yeah. Absolutely, mate. Not ignoring you, just constantly refreshing my phone as it's deadline day to see what's happening there. We'll get on to the two signings that are expected to sign really in the next few hours for Forest. They have both of the medicals. They're pictured outside the training ground as we speak as well. So that will be announced very soon. I wouldn't be surprised if Forest even tried one more out of nowhere. They always want to try and pull something off in the last few hours of day. It closes at 7:00, doesn't it? It's an odd time now. It closes. It's not like it used to be with Jim
I love
White on
those
the telly,
days.
is it?
I love those days, staying up till midnight to watch, or 11 o'clock, whatever it used to be for the deadline day, and seeing it. I just think of Harry Redknapp when I think of
Yeah.
that.
I once got my I once got my phone confiscated in school because I was on it watching the stream on Sky Go. I like logged in on my dad's Sky Go watching the watching Deadline Day. I think it was when Forest signed, yeah, under Gary Brazil when we signed Ross McCormack.
Oh
Who?
yeah,
There was another Zach Clough, and then some other players, and it was like it came out of it just came out of nowhere in an attempt to. I don't know if Forest were trying to survive that season or try and push for late playoffs. It was under Fowers. It was one of those.
yeah. Well,
Those days.
if we're all a bit upset about yesterday and how the situation is currently, think back to then. Think how we felt back then. So yeah, it's all it puts it into perspective a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. All right, just quickly before we move on to signings and other bits and pieces, Sam, do you think Nuno will be here for the Arsenal game? Can you see him staying in charge? I mean, do you want him to stay in charge if he's not willing to make these substitutions sooner? If he's maybe going to be a little bit stubborn?
I do want to see him in charge. Yeah, I think like I say, he's done well, and he's done well with the team we had last year. I mean, they massively overperformed, and I really want to see him have a go with this backing and the players that are coming in. I think that what we're building here is really really good and really really exciting, and he's a massive part of that. So yeah, I think I absolutely want him to be there. Whether he will be or not, I think, to be honest, I think the international break has kind of come at a really good time in terms of, like you say, you've got a bit of time. Players going to go off on international duty, and it's going to give the management time to sit down and properly just sort this all out and figure out what's going on. So I hope they come to some sort of resolution with it. Um, it's never I can't. There's not many situations where I think an owner can be called out and the manager doesn't doesn't leave pretty soon after. So I think it could go. It's going to go. It's pretty 50-50. I think it just all depends on those conversations and whether Marinakis believes that Nuno is the right manager to take Forest forward, or he thinks there's
Mm,
someone else that he can get in that's going to improve that. And I'm hearing some of the names of like Mourinho and stuff floated around, which I think just to steer well away from. I don't want a manager that's coming and making it all about him. I don't want. That's what I like about Nuno, and I loved about Cooper, is that they were so understated about everything, and it was never. I mean, obviously it is about Nuno now, but it's never about them after a win. It's always about the players, and there's no normally, like on a match day, there's no drama with them or anything like that. So someone like Mourinho coming in would be just funny from an outsider perspective, but I wouldn't want to see it.
yeah, yeah. We'll see what happens. No, and I do agree with you, Sam. I think a managerial change would be uneasy. I don't think the majority of the players want Nuno to go, but I kind of think with a footballing head on, well, Forester fans have spent hundreds of thousands of pounds in the last 2 days on Sky Scanner, constantly refreshing the page to try and get the best flights to Seville and Porto and wherever else, and Utrecht, and they've spent all this money on planning to go and watch us in Europe. If we have a manager that isn't willing to change things and try and sort these issues out, then Forest are only going to sabotage themselves even more in what could be one of the best seasons that the club's had in its history. So
Yeah,
for me, and also Forest are the third, fourth bookies' favourite to win the Europa League. I'm not saying we're going to, but it's a really good chance with the squad we've got to at least get to the latter stage of the competition, earn more prize money for the club, increase the exposure of Nottingham Forest. We all know Forest are a big club, of course, in Nottingham and everywhere else and across the UK. But in terms of a global point of view, if Forest want to expand and become one day a top six club and almost have that attention, then European football and European competitions do that. So for me, I think if this won't be sorted by the end of the week, I would definitely be with the option to make a change. And it pains me to say it because I want Nuno to be here, but I just think, well, if he's not going to try and sort it out, and they're not going to sort it out, and it's going to be an issue for a few more weeks, then let's just move on. Let's say
yeah.
thanks to Nuno, appreciate his efforts, appreciate his time. A little bit like Steve Cooper, probably not as much, but he'll always be remembered for what he's done for the football club. And we get a new manager and we move on. And then that way we have a great chance of having another good season.
It just sounds daft that we're having this instability at this point, isn't it? It's crazy. Like you
Yeah.
understand it when fighting relegation. But when you're on the brink of, like you say, going into Europe and all that sort of stuff, it's just crazy that we've got this instability. I mean, and also another reason I don't want him to go is because the t-shirt that I've done for him is my best seller as well. So from a selfish point of view, I'd rather him stay.
From a business point of view, Sam.
Exactly.
All right, let's talk. We'll might come back to Nuno at the end, but I can't imagine anything's going to be done today. People going, oh, he could be gone today. I don't think it'll be like that. I think it'll be something in the next week or two. The owners will certainly take their time, and I think they'll all meet up towards the end of this week and try and bang their heads together and sort something out. Fingers crossed. Let's talk the players then that Forest are linked with. We'll talk about one that they've targeted. I mean, all summer really, but they seem to have finally got their man. The Strasbourg winger, Delane Bakwa. Again, pronunciation. Apologies if that is wrong. I'm sure there'll be some expert on the podcast that tells me it isn't. But he's an interesting player. 35 million plus a few add-ons to make it happen. He's another winger. It's another great player for Forest in terms of having the squad depth going into a busy European competition. What do you make to him, Sam? Have you seen much of him? And I guess, like I just said, it's kind of another player that Forest can utilise, because I don't know about you, but I don't think we'll see that much of Amari Hutchinson, particularly under Nuno.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say I've seen a lot of him. I've just seen the odd clip on social media, that the little edits and things that people put together. But he's obviously someone that we've targeted for the whole window, and he's had interest from other Premier League clubs as well. So hopefully he's a good signing. But like you say, there's now got four wingers, including, so you've got Hudson-Odoi, Hutchinson, Dan Ndoye, and then this lad, what's his name, Bakwa?
Yeah.
Rubbish with pronunciations like you are.
You could even throw James McAtee in there that Nuno opted to play on the wing as well. So you've got a lot of players there.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be a real fight for places, which is good because we haven't seen that. It's been pretty obvious who's going to start for the majority of last season. So I like that. I'm slightly concerned that there's a lot of these players that are coming in from good teams already that are nailed on starters that are now probably, like you say, could be second or third choice in their position. So I'm hoping that people are coming in with that mentality of like, look, it's a squad thing, and I'm going to fight for my place, and really going to give it a go and not kind of disrupt the dressing room or anything like that. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I think that Hutchinson is what, like you say, is one of those that I was mostly excited about. I think I've seen the most of him, and obviously he's English and he's young, and I saw him in the under-21s Euros, and I thought he was really good. I've not obviously came on against Palace, and he got a couple of minutes against who did we play yesterday? West Ham, and he's one of those players that I think he's got a lot of talent in him, and he's just a bit raw. And giving him a bit of a run of game, and I think he could become really good. But Nuno maybe doesn't seem to favour him. I thought he should have come on earlier. I thought McAtee should have come on instead of Gibbs White in that 10 position, because I think that's where he's best. So I understand from Nuno's perspective, he's got loads of players coming in. He's going to have this period which he would have liked in pre-season to trial new things, and he's not had that chance. So he's got to do it in the season. And unfortunately, you've got teams like West Ham who have got a pretty established squad, and they have done for a while, and they were well drilled, and they look like they played together as a team. I know they haven't in recent weeks, but they did yesterday. So we're going to have that teething period, I think, no matter what. And just hopefully it comes good. And hopefully the lads that do come in make a real difference.
Yeah, no, for sure, mate. Spot on. No, nothing more to add from me. I think that you hit the nail on the head, and I think as well, Nuno's got to give them a chance to try and integrate them into the team. That is one difficult thing, I'll admit. What also worries me is if Nuno does depart, is you're going to bring in a manager that will have to work with that squad. So they're going to have to look at someone with previous experience of kind of hitting, and you don't get many managers that will want to come in without a pre-season. I mean, if Nuno does depart, it's an incredibly attractive job for whoever wants it. I know you have the controversial aspect of Marinakis and everything that goes on at Nottingham Forest Football Club, but it's certainly a brilliant option if if you're bored and you fancy a challenge and leading the club into Europe for the first time. And if you win the competition, you're going to always be remembered as well in Nottingham. So yeah, it's a great opportunity. And we'll see what happens. And then, of course, Forest also linked with the left back, 22-year-old Cubano from Botafogo. We love our South American players, don't we? The left back there, I've never heard of him. I can't lie. It's another deal in South America. It's another deal potentially involving John Textor and Marinakis. But again, cover for the fullback position, Sam, which we've talked about on the podcast that Forest have needed to get through the door.
Yeah, he was one that was in that trio when Jesus and Jay Cunha signed, wasn't he? That I think he decided against it initially. So yeah, that's obviously been one that they wanted initially as well. So yeah, he signed, and I think we do need full back cover. I think I don't know about you, but Ola looked he's looked a bit unfit.
Off it. I think. Yeah,
Yeah,
completely agree.
I don't quite understand it. He was fantastic last season, but he has that kind of nonchalant thing about him where he's very just relaxed all the time, and he almost just like strolls about a bit. But then obviously when he gets on the ball, he comes to life. But yeah, he just seems a bit off it for me, and I don't quite know what it is. Maybe a couple of young fullbacks coming in to challenge that. Like I say, these guys are going to want to come in. They've come from big clubs playing first team football. They're going to want to come in and push for that starting spot. So Ola's going to have to now work for it again and make sure that he's giving 8s, 9s out of 10 every game to keep his spot in the team.
Just on Cubano, you were saying to me before we came on air, Sam, that your
I may have a
mate,
source.
yeah, go on. Your mate's seen him outside the City ground.
I may have a source that's seen him in Nottingham, so I think that one may be getting done fairly soon.
There you go, Sam Evans, our very own Fabrizio Romano, David Ornstein-esque. So yeah, so we'll see what happens with that deal. Also, some credit to Paul Taylor, who says that Forest are probably going to look at accepting if there was a bid or even a loan deal that came in for Taiwo Awani. So Taiwo could well leave the City ground before the end of today. There could be a few more outgoings as well. Never say never with Forest. I mean, it's 2:00 now in the afternoon? I think that we'll see a bit more action, but those two will definitely get done over the line. So more option, and we'll see what happens in the next few days. Just quickly then, Sam, before we wrap up, international break. This is a time really for the club to sort out the mess, and then Forest have really got to put these off the pitch issues to bed, because you've got a huge game against Arsenal the following week.
Yeah, I hate going to Arsenal. Arsenal
I do
away,
as well.
we always struggle there, don't we? So I think get that after the international break's not the most favourable game. So yeah, like you said, I think you were spot on. These issues, the thing that needs to get sorted, get deadline day done, get other players in, the squad's there, then together, and we all know what the squad is going to be. And then whatever these differences are can hopefully be settled, and we can look forward to kind of getting a settled side or at least a settled plan, and hopefully improving on yesterday's performance and potentially the Palace performance as well, because they were a stark contrast to the opening day, which is a real shame because it gives us all so much hope and optimism at the start of the season, doesn't it? When you have such a dominant performance like that, and then yeah, you've kind of it's gone off the ball in the next two games, which is it's a shame, but it's Premier League football. You've seen it with other clubs. A lot of teams are having ups and downs at the start of the season, mixed results. So like third game in, let's nobody panic. Let's get everything sorted over the international break, and then we'll crack on and hopefully go to the Emirates and see if we can get some points there.
Yeah, absolutely. No, spot on, agree. Funny one, Arsenal. Easy, I think it's one of the easiest grounds to get to, actually. If you get the train and then it's like a quick tube from Euston or King's Cross, it's easy as anything. But yeah, it's not. It's just a place where Forest have always seemed to struggle. I'm actually a little bit frustrated because this week I'm going down to London to see Coldplay on Thursday. So I'm already in London for those 2 days. It's typical that the game isn't this weekend because I could have tied it in, but it'll be 2 trips to London in quick succession. So I'll be on that train line and and buying the advanced single tickets to Euston like no tomorrow to make sure we are there. I'm sure the Forest fans will back us in numbers. Whatever happens, come that Arsenal game, whether we've got a new manager in charge as well. But we will see. Sam, appreciate it as ever, mate. Thanks so much for coming on, and yeah, fingers crossed. See you soon.
Yeah, spot on, mate. Thanks very much.
We will keep you updated throughout today. I mean, Forest might go and do a Forest and sign 10 players before 7 o'clock tonight. I can't see it, if I'm totally honest. I don't think the club will do that. But you never know. We might pop up later in a couple more hours if there's more news to bring you. I am on standby all day from home. So if there's anything happening, we will get live on the podcast and bring it to you when it happens. The same goes for Nuno's future. If anything happens this week, it's of course international break this weekend. So we'll have the weekend off, but we should be back next Monday as well for an episode of some sort. Whether that's on a new manager, whether that's on Nuno still, whatever it may be, we will bring it to you here. Do give us a like and share on YouTube. Follow us across Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. Remember, we are sponsored kindly by the guys at NordVPN. So for all your VPNs, get in the description. You can use the code as well, Garibaldi Red, for a little discount. Don't say we don't treat you. Have a good afternoon, whatever you're doing. Fingers crossed that Forest can sort themselves out this week, as Nuno could be under pressure. We shall see you very soon. Come on, you're ready.